what's up guys, it's Davis here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Galaxy Note 8. Is it a phone you should consider buying in 2021? So guys, if you're new to my channel, please help me and subscribe. It's really important to me. I really want to hit 1k by the end of the year. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to try my level best to upload. Maybe with time improve on the quality of the uploads. So starting out on the Note 8. So this phone was released in 2017, and now I can say it's about 3 years old. So starting out with the body and the build quality of the phone, so I would say this phone is still very solid when it comes to the build quality. Aluminum and Gorilla Glass 5 at the front and at the back. So still looking good, still feels solid to this day. I'm telling you that. Sure, this was the orchid gray color. It was released in many color variants. So I would say the body was passable. Had a single pairing speaker at the bottom. Never had dual speakers at the time. Still had the headphone jack, which is a rare thing to see in modern flagships. And as obviously the S Pen. So at the top you had the dual SIM support for certain variants, not all. So that's something you should check out before you purchase any of these phones. So we had support for dual SIMs at the time. If you wanted a variant anyway, not all of them had that, because some had just SD card slot and a single SIM. So moving on to the display. The display on this phone is still a good display, and at the time it was, I think, top notch. But today what makes it worse displays, maybe it didn't have the 120 Hz or the high refresh rate whatsoever, and LTPO, the ability to move from maybe like 1 Hz to 60 or to 120, the type of technology. So this phone was just 1440p, no high refresh rates. So I would say it's still better certain phones like the Note 10, the regular one that I just reviewed a few days ago. Still better it still has a better display. So obviously there are many factors as to why you would choose this one over the other one. So that's about the display. 1440p, no high refresh rates. I would say it's a nice display. So you could switch between 1440p, 1080 and 720 based on maybe your usage. Maybe you want to save some battery and all that. So I would say the display is still solid on this phone. It's just fine. 1440p and very punchy, 521 ppi. That's really nice. So display is passable, because not everyone will consider. Not everyone will notice 120 Hz. The only time you notice it is if you're comparing two phones directly next to each other. But if you're using it on a daily, as a daily phone, it's not going to feel slow or anything. It still feels fine. But obviously there's more to a phone than just whatever the display alone. So moving on to the cameras on this phone. So this phone was released with dual cameras at the back, which are both 12MP. The main cameras are 12MP 1.7 f1.7 camera, and then the 2x optical at 12MP also, but at f2.4, relatively late than the main. So I'll say the cameras on this phone are still fine. Just fine, to be honest. A 2x optical camera, I would say, is just, maybe it's just an extra thing to have, but really it makes not much of a difference to me, because these days phones with 32 megapixels can easily zoom in with the same quality, nearly lossless zoom. So 2x optical camera, I don't know, I think it was just it's not necessary. It wasn't necessary, but at the time it was a big deal, because phones were just adopting the dual camera trend. So I believe this was the first Note phone from Samsung to have dual cameras, if I'm not mistaken. So at the front you had an 8MP camera, which I would say is still fine, but not really on par with the new modern phones. Like the images are not all that crispy. The resolution is a little less. But I'll say it's passable. It's still fine, to be honest. Yeah, so you could record 4K at 30 fps on both the rear and the back. Yeah, that's if you're considering the video, which is fine, but I mean, phones are recording at 8K right now, and I think the minimum you would need is what, maybe 4K 60, but for a regular person I don't think you need anything above 1080p, because obviously 4K have to consider the storage. So the variant of this phone I have is 64 whatever GB, and if you're recording many 4K videos, I think that will really run out really fast. So yeah, I think the cameras are passable, but they're not as good as the new ones, obviously. Yeah, so that's about the cameras. Yeah, and it also had whatever an iris scanner, a 2MP camera for iris scanning. Yeah, a dedicated one. That's basically about the cameras. I believe that's all you would want to know. But yeah, the camera quality, I would say, is just average for now, for today, in comparison to the best you have today. For example, the Note 20s and all that. I'll say they're just average. They're not really terrible, and the quality of the video is fine. Yeah, still solid. Fair. You can easily, whatever, it will easily do whatever you want to do. Like maybe unless you want to zoom in so far, obviously they have that ability. And also, yeah, you don't have an ultra wide, which is a big bummer. Obviously, I don't think very many people use them anyway. At least in my case, I don't feel like I miss it that much, having used this phone for, I don't know, coming to a month now. Yeah, I don't feel like I miss an ultra wide on it that much, because really do I ever switch to an ultra wide camera anyway. Yeah, the camera is just fine in comparison to the other phones, but for a lay person, I think the camera is okay. Yeah, so moving on to the very most important thing, I believe, I think that's the software. So these phones were released with Android 7, I believe, Nougat. When they were released in 2017, that's what they were released with, but they're upgradable to Android 9, and that was the last major update they got. Yeah, they got Android 9, which is Oreo, right? It was Oreo, Android 9 Oreo. Is it? Yeah. Was it? No. So yeah, it was Android 9 Pie, yeah, not Oreo, sorry. Oreo was 8. Just made a mistake there. So yeah, so the software, I think, yeah, and it's also got One UI 1.0. So I think the software is still just fine, still passable. But then at the time of recording this video, the Galaxy S8 had just stopped receiving support from Samsung. So I believe this will follow suit in losing the support from Samsung. So yeah, you get this phone, you're sure you're not receiving any more software updates or even security updates, security patches. This timeline is done, so it's not receiving any support from Samsung anymore. So yeah, the best you can get is Android 9 Pie with whatever with One UI 1.0. So yeah, that's the software of this phone, and I believe anyway it's still fine, it's still usable. It's not like you're going to get any software, any apps rejecting it just because maybe the software is too old now. None of that. So yeah, the software is just fine, to be honest. Yeah, but obviously you'll be missing out on some of the features introduced with Android 11 and all that. But I think it's just fine. Yeah, it's still usable. So this phone was a 4G phone, obviously. So getting on to the things that I don't like about this phone, I think that you should look at. The main thing is maybe the battery. The battery life for this phone is not really all that good. You have to charge it all the time. Because yeah, it was released with a 3300 mAh battery. So yeah, remembering that at the time when this phone was released, Samsung was just on the back of fiasco with whatever with the Galaxy Note 7. Yeah, the phones that were exploding. So I think Samsung played it very safe with the Note 8, giving it a small battery. So yeah, didn't really have the best battery life to say, to say the least. Yeah, the battery life is not really good on this, and given the years that have passed, 3 years, I think the battery health degrades also. So that doesn't make it any better really. It just makes it a really poor phone when it comes to battery life. But anyway, for regular usage, maybe 5 hours on screen on time for just normal usage. Yeah, the S Pen on this, I think it's missing a few features. Like, okay, if you've been using one of the modern phones like the Note 10 or anything above, I think you will feel like certain features are missing on this. Like it's not really all that good, the latency and all that. So yeah, it's not really on par with the new phones. Like starting from the Note 10 upwards, those phones have better stylus. Yeah, the stylus is better. You can tell the difference actually, because I was using the Note 10 just a few days ago. If I switch to this phone, and yeah, I can actually tell the difference in the stylus. These don't feel as good in quality. So if the S Pen is big deal to you, maybe you should consider getting one of those higher whatever variants, like the Note 10 and above. Obviously those are just the variants, Note 10 and the Note 20, or their light versions. Yeah, they had better S Pens in comparison to these ones. So I think that's basically it about this phone. The major gripe about it is just maybe the software, and the big one is the battery. The cameras are still possible. I think you can still do it. The performance is just fine. You can still play games on it easy without expecting. Obviously for the high-end games, you're not going to play them at the highest refresh rates or the highest performance modes. Like you cannot get it to play these new games like at max settings. So don't expect the best performance, but it's still possible for the light games like this Temple Run here very easily. You're not going to notice any stuttering or anything. The UI is still fine. Obviously you're going to notice that this One UI 1.0, so it still looks a bit old. It still it has aged so well in terms of software. Yeah, so that's my verdict on this phone. Hope this video is helpful for you guys. So yeah, I think this phone is still passable for the price. That's my main verdict, except for the battery life and the software support. I think it's still fine. Maybe if you care about the whatever the ultra-wide camera, which I don't think is a big deal for most people. The cameras are still fine. Yeah, so that's basically it about the Note 8. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And yeah, I guess see you guys in the next one. Please help me and subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'll be really grateful. Thank you.